Imagine this. A group of Neanderthals huddles around a fire in a cave somewhere in Europe 40,000 years ago. One of them starts humming a low, steady tone, and then another voice joins in, weaving a simple melody. You might think they're just making noise, maybe to pass the time or scare off predators. But what if I told you that this act, this primal, wordless singing, holds the key to understanding why you can even speak, feel, and connect with others today? The origin of human singing isn't just a quirky footnote in prehistory. It's a thread that ties together our evolution as social creatures, our biology, and our deepest emotions. So, why did ancient humans start singing? The obvious answer is that it felt good, or maybe it helped them communicate across distances. But that's like saying you drive a car just to turn the steering wheel. It misses the engine entirely. Let's strip this down to the bone. Singing, before it became art or ritual, was a survival tool. Think about the world of our ancestors. No language as you know it, just grunts, gestures, and sounds. In that chaos, a sustained pitch could carry farther than a shout, cutting through wind and forest noise. But that's only the surface. Science now suggests that singing evolved as a social glue, a way to synchronize groups and build trust without words. And here's where it gets wild. The same neural circuits that light up when you sing are also responsible for language, empathy, and even your sense of self. This isn't just about ancient history. It's about why you hum in the shower or cry at a concert. To understand this, we have to go back to the very dawn of our species, before Homo sapiens even existed. Picture a primate ancestor, maybe 7 million years ago, living in small, tight-knit groups in the African forests. These creatures didn't have a complex language. They communicated with calls and gestures, much like chimpanzees do today. But those calls weren't random. Studies of modern primates show that their vocalizations are structured. Certain pitches signal danger, others signal food, and some are used to maintain social bonds. When a chimpanzee pant-hoots, it's not just making noise, it's announcing its identity, its mood, and its place in the hierarchy. Now, imagine a mutation or a behavioral shift that allowed these calls to become more melodic, more sustained. That's the seed of singing. But why would that be advantageous? Here's the first counterintuitive twist. Singing might have evolved as a form of vocal grooming. You've probably heard that primates spend hours grooming each other to strengthen social ties. Well, for early humans, as groups grew larger than about 100 individuals, physical grooming became impossible. There just wasn't enough time. So, they needed a more efficient way to bond large numbers of people at once. Enter singing, a group activity that releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and creates a sense of collective identity. If you've ever been in a choir or at a stadium where thousands sing together, you've felt that chemical rush. Ancient humans discovered this long before science had a name for it. But let's not jump ahead. There's a deeper layer to this puzzle, one that involves the very structure of your brain. When you sing, you're not just using your vocal cords. You're engaging a network of regions that includes the motor cortex, the auditory cortex, and the limbic system, your emotional center. And here's the kicker. The same area that processes music and singing, the arcuate fasciculus, is also crucial for language. This suggests that singing and speech share a common evolutionary root. In fact, some researchers argue that singing came first. The theory goes that early hominins used melodic vocalizations to communicate emotional states before they developed the syntax and vocabulary for full-blown language. Think of it as a proto-language where pitch, rhythm, and tone carried meaning, not words. This is called the musical proto-language hypothesis, and it's supported by evidence from infant development. Babies babble with melodic contours long before they form words, and they respond more strongly to singing than to speech. Your own first attempts at communication were likely more like singing than talking. So, ancient humans didn't just start singing for fun. They sang to say, "I'm here, I'm safe," or "let's work together." But there's another layer, and this one is darker. Singing might have also evolved as a tool for sexual selection. Think about it. A good singer has to control their breath, modulate pitch, and maintain rhythm. all signs of physical fitness and neurological health. In many traditional societies, even today, singing is a key part of courtship. If you could sing well, you are advertising your genes. This isn't just speculation. Studies of birds and whales show that complex vocalizations are often used to attract mates. Humans are no different, but here's where the story gets even more intricate. Ancient singing wasn't just a solo performance. It was almost always a group activity. And group singing has a unique property. It synchronizes the heartbeats and brainwaves of participants. When you sing with others, your breathing aligns, your heart rates converge, and your brains start to oscillate in similar patterns. This creates a powerful sense of unity and cooperation. For early humans, this was a game changer. Imagine a hunting party about to take down a mammoth. If they could synchronize their movements through a rhythmic chant or song, they'd be more effective as a team. Or consider a group gathering around a fire after a successful hunt. Singing together reinforce social bonds, reduce stress, and help transmit cultural knowledge. The songs themselves carried information about where to find water, how to prepare food, or who is related to whom. This is why singing is universal across human cultures. No society on Earth has been found without some form of vocal music. But let's get specific. What evidence do we actually have that ancient humans sang? Direct evidence is, of course, impossible. Sounds don't fossilize. But we have indirect clues. The oldest known musical instruments are flutes made from bird bones and mammoth ivory, dating back at least 40,000 years. These instruments require a sophisticated understanding of pitch and scale, which implies that singing, the natural instrument, was already well established. If you can make a flute, you can definitely sing. But there's even older evidence, the anatomy of the vocal tract. Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens had a hyoid bone, a small U-shaped bone in the neck that supports the tongue and allows for complex vocalizations. This bone is identical in shape to modern humans, suggesting that our ancient relatives had the physical capacity for singing. In fact, some scientists think that Neanderthals could sing, though perhaps with a different timbre than us. But the most compelling evidence comes from our own biology. Every human baby is born with an innate ability to perceive pitch and rhythm. Newborns can distinguish between different musical scales and prefer consonant intervals over dissonant ones. This isn't learned, it's wired into your brain. Why would evolution give you this if singing wasn't crucial for survival? And it's not just about hearing, it's about producing. The neural pathways that control your larynx and breathing are among the most complex in the motor system, requiring precise coordination. This level of control didn't evolve by accident. It was shaped by selection pressures that favored vocal communication. Now let's look at the anthropology. Hunter-gatherer societies, like the Kung San of the Kalahari or the AKA of the Congo, use singing in almost every aspect of life. Healing rituals, storytelling, work songs, lullabies, and ceremonies. These songs are not just entertainment. They serve practical functions. For example, the AKA have polyphonic singing that involves complex harmonies, and it's used to coordinate group tasks like net hunting. The rhythm of the song dictates the pace of the work, and the harmonies keep everyone engaged. This is a living model of what ancient human societies might have been like. But here's the twist that will blow your mind. Singing might have preceded language by hundreds of thousands of years. Think about it this way. Language is a relatively recent innovation, perhaps appearing around 50 to 100,000 years ago. But singing, or at least melodic vocalization, could be much older, maybe 2 million years old, tracing back to Homo erectus. Why? Because singing doesn't require the same cognitive machinery as language. It relies on emotional and motor circuits that are more ancient in evolutionary terms. You can sing a melody without understanding the words, but you can't speak a language without syntax. This suggests that our ancestors sang long before they talked. And when language finally emerged, it piggybacked on the neural infrastructure for singing. That's why music and language are processed in overlapping brain regions, and why you can remember a song better than a speech. Your brain treats singing as a more fundamental mode of communication. But let's not get too theoretical. Let's go back to that cave 40,000 years ago Why did that Neanderthal start humming? Maybe it was a way to comfort a crying infant. Maybe it was a signal to other members of the group that the area was safe. Maybe it was a spontaneous expression of joy after a successful hunt. Whatever the specific reason, the act of singing was a solution to a fundamental problem: how to stay connected in a dangerous world. And it worked so well that it became embedded in our DNA. But here's where the narrative takes another turn. Singing didn't just help individuals bond, it helped cultures survive. Songs are a form of memory storage. Before writing, everything, genealogies, laws, histories, and myths, was encoded in song. The rhythm and rhyme made it easier to remember. Think of the epic poems of Homer, which were originally sung, or the Aboriginal song lines of Australia, which mapped the landscape through melodic chants. Ancient humans sang to remember. And this brings us to a surprising conclusion. The very act of singing might have driven the evolution of human intelligence. When you sing, you're not just repeating sounds, you're manipulating pitch, timing, and emotion in real time. This requires working memory, attention, and planning. Children who sing develop better language skills, better social skills, and even better math skills. For ancient humans, those same cognitive benefits would have been selected for. Groups that sang together were smarter, more cohesive, and more likely to survive. But wait, there's more. Recent studies in neuroscience have shown that singing releases dopamine, the pleasure chemical, and reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. This means that singing is literally a natural antidepressant. In a harsh prehistoric environment where stress and danger were constant, singing would have been a vital coping mechanism. It lowered anxiety, boosted immune function, and promoted a sense of well-being. And because singing is contagious, when you hear someone sing, your mirror neurons fire, making you want to join in. It's spread through groups like a beneficial virus. This is why every culture has lullabies. A mother singing to her baby isn't just soothing the child. She's also calming herself. And in doing so, she's strengthening the bond that ensures the infant's survival. Now let's talk about the why from a different angle, the physics of sound. Why do humans choose singing over, say, drumming or dancing as the primary bonding activity? Because the voice is always available. You don't need tools to sing. You can do it while walking, working, or even while fleeing from a predator. And the human voice is uniquely suited for sustained, varied pitches. Our larynx is lower in the throat than in other primates, giving us a longer vocal tract and more control over resonance. This anatomical feature evolved for speech, but it also makes singing possible. In fact, some scientists believe that the descent of the larynx was driven by the need for melodic communication, not just speech. So, ancient humans started singing because they could, and because it gave them a massive evolutionary advantage. But here's the most provocative idea. Singing might have been the first form of art. Art isn't just about aesthetics. It's about creating shared meaning. When you sing, you're not just producing sound. You're conveying emotion, intention, and beauty. This ability to create and appreciate beauty might have been a byproduct of singing, but also reinforced the behavior. Groups that valued artistic expression were more attractive to outsiders, fostering trade, alliances, and genetic exchange. In other words, singing made us more human. And this is where the story connects to you right now. Think about the last time you sang. Maybe it was in the shower, at a concert, or to a child. Did you feel a sense of release? A connection to something larger? That's not just nostalgia. That's your ancient brain activating the same circuits that helped your ancestors survive. You are literally reliving a 2 million-year-old evolutionary strategy. So, why did ancient humans start singing? The answer isn't simple. It's a tapestry of biology, social dynamics, cognitive evolution, and even physics. They sang to bond, to attract mates, to remember, to heal, and to create meaning. They sang because it made them smarter, healthier, and more resilient. And they sang because it felt good. But the deepest reason might be this. Singing is a way of saying, I am here, and I am with you. In a world full of predators, weather, and uncertainty, that message was everything. Now let's zoom out. If singing was so crucial, why did language eventually take over? The answer is efficiency. Language can convey specific information, like the berries are poisonous or the river is to the east, in a way that singing cannot. But singing never disappeared, it just specialized. It became the domain of emotion, ritual, and art. And in many ways, it remains more powerful than language. A song can make you cry, laugh, or feel a surge of courage, even if you don't understand the lyrics. That's the primal force of singing. So, the next time you hear a bird sing, or a child hum, or a crowd roar a song at a football game, remember, you're witnessing a behavior that shaped our species. And if you've ever wondered why music moves you so deeply, now you know. It's not just entertainment, it's a legacy. A legacy of ancient humans who, around a fire in the dark, opened their mouths and let out a sound that said, "We are together." And that sound echoed through time, all the way to your ears. Now, here's a final thought to chew on. If singing is so fundamental, what does it say about our modern world, where many people rarely sing? Are we losing something essential? That's a question for another video, but it's worth pondering. For now, let's wrap this up. Thanks for sticking with me through this journey into the deep past. If you enjoyed this exploration, I invite you to join me again next time. We'll dive into another mystery from our ancient past, one that might change how you see the world. And if this idea stays with you, let it linger in your mind the next time silence falls. Perhaps the urge to hum, to whistle, or to chant is a ghost of that ancient campfire. It's a thread connecting you to a time before cities, before writing, before even words themselves. Singing was a tool for survival, a map for memory, a glue for community. It helped our ancestors coordinate hunts, soothe infants, and celebrate triumphs. It was a way to pass knowledge across generations when books didn't exist. Think of it as the first social network, alive in the air, shared by vibration and breath. And when you consider the power of a lullaby or a war cry, you see the spectrum of its use. From calming a child to uniting warriors, singing was a flexible technology. It didn't require any tool other than your own body. That's why it's so ancient, so embedded in our biology. We are wired for rhythm and melody, for pitch and harmony. Even babies respond to musical patterns before they understand speech. So, when you feel that shiver down your spine during a powerful song, you're feeling evolution. It's the echo of a million ancestors, all singing together in the dark. And now, as we move further into a digital age, where screens dominate, we need to ask, have we silenced that voice? Perhaps the modern world has made singing a performance, not a daily act. But the impulse remains, waiting for a moment to break free. So let it out. Hum in the shower, chant at a concert, or just sing along to the radio. You're not just making noise, you're honoring a legacy. A legacy that reminds us we are not alone. We are part of a long, unbroken chain of voices. And that chain is still alive as long as we choose to sing. If this journey into sound has stirred something in you, consider subscribing to join the next one. We still carry the ghost of those first songs in our bones, a blueprint for connection that predates language itself. Think of the way your breath syncs with a beat, how your foot taps without thought. That's not learned, it's remembered. Those early humans didn't have theories about music. They had a need to bond, to warn, to soothe, and to celebrate. Singing was survival, a glue for the tribe when words fell short against the vastness of the night. It shaped our brains, wiring us to find patterns in chaos, to feel emotion in vibration. Today, we might call it art, but it started as a tool as essential as fire. When you hear a melody that makes your chest ache, you're tapping into that ancient code. It's a whisper from a time when a song could mean the difference between life and death. We've forgotten most of those original tunes, but the architecture remains. Our larynx still knows how to produce a sound that reaches another soul without explanation. That's why a baby calms to a simple hum, why a crowd can roar as one at a stadium. It's not magic. It's millions of years of practice, honed by ancestors who sang into the dark. The digital noise we drown in today masks this instinct, but it hasn't erased it. Every time you feel compelled to hum while walking or bell out a tune in your car, you're reconnecting. You're proving that this thread hasn't snapped, just stretched thin. So sing badly, sing proudly, sing without an audience. It doesn't matter. The act itself is the point, a ritual that binds you to every voice that came before. You're not just a listener. You're a participant in a story that spans millennia. And that story isn't over. Your voice is the next verse. If this exploration of sound has moved you, consider subscribing to keep the chorus alive.